In this screencast I will show how you can search for reference materials, so stuff you can use to create better animations, and also on how to create some material yourself and how to handle it and change it so you can work it in so you can use it while capturing stop motion. A first example is the animation of a line. I created a black line in Photoshop and saved it as an image. I'm in Premiere, and the first layer is just a white area, and then we have our line, and I animated the line with the motion property, so I changed the position, and at the last keyframe of the position I put some easing on it. So right click on a keyframe, you can choose for temporal interpolation and have an ease in. I manually changed the ease in because it was almost not noticeable, so I changed it so you can clearly see it slowing down. So now I have this animation of a line slowing down. How can I use this to create better stop motion? Well, first step is to export this as an image sequence. So you choose the frame rate which you would like to use, and of course in here you choose the length and the duration. Now I have 2 seconds to slow down, so if you let them match, so if you have an easing of 2 seconds which you want to use in a stop motion animation with a frame rate of 10 frames per second, you export this also with a frame rate of 10 seconds. Like this, you will get snapshots of the line every 10 frames, changing position. So that's step 1, export to an image sequence. And then we jump to Photoshop and we reuse some knowledge we already seen in earlier lesson. Via file scripts, load files into stack, we can import the image sequence of the line. Select all, click open, and then click OK. So you can see that Photoshop is importing all the different images. So we have each image on a layer in the same file. How can we make them all visible? Well, it's a little trick. I click on the first and I shift click on this one, so not the last but one before, so I'm leaving the last one as it is, and then I will use blend modes. So this is a technique where you can define how colors react and blend, and I'm using the multiply. Multiply will keep the blacks, so dark colors, and will mix in lighter colors. So now all the white has been removed and we keep only the black. So now we can see all our lines. Don't ask me why they are like a little dancing. I don't know why. I'm going to crop this area, so this is all I need. And now I can start wondering, okay, I'm going to make an easing, a move over like 15 centimeters. Then I can change the image size to match that, for instance 15. And now I can print this. So if I print this on a sheet of paper and I cut it so at this edge, so I can clearly see that the black lines at the edge of the paper, I can use it to put it on my scene. Maybe put some sticky tape to the bottom side so I can flip it over and reposition it exactly the same every time I need it. So now if you are shooting stop motion, you can move your subject guided by these black lines and you will get a stunning result. This is one thing, creating movement or using movement in some kind of reference material. What I did is I went on YouTube and searched for somebody who's doing a flip, somersault, or how do you call it? Not to print it out, but just to have it as a reference. So I made a little setup in Lego, and I created this. So it's like what the guy in the subject in the movie is doing. I used some extra blocks to position the Lego man in the air, but it was way easier to create this with the reference material. You can think how a somersault would look, but if you have one next to you while you're animating, you will get better results. Now, the importance of good infrastructure, good hardware, made it clear to me that it's very important that you have very good fixation of the camera and of your scene, because while I was shooting there were some slight movements, and it was very hard to remove the unwanted parts, and you can see that there is a lighter area moving around, so it's my reference frame for which the lighting was different and the position was slightly different, so it was a really tough job and the result is not that good. So if you're going to the trouble of making something like this, make sure you can really fix your scene and fix your camera. So I hope you got some inspiration from these ideas, so you can create your own motion and translate it to the analog world, or you can go and find something on the web to use.